This is the Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Kind of echoey today.
It's a little echoey.
Yeah, a little echoey today. Maybe we'll explain that. Maybe we won't. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Might be a mystery.
You never know. No. Instagram. Find us on Instagram. You will simply go to Instagram and look for Wilder Show Pod. And then you will like us and follow us and tell all your friends. And we appreciate that. Want to email us? Podcast@wildershow.com. Podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central or before, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And we do encourage you to, ask you to, beseech you to.
Beg.
Yeah, beg. Beseech is sort of the old-timey word for beg.
Beseech is classier than beg.
To get on YouTube and just find us at Wilder Show Podcast. You'll know the red logo there. And just go ahead and subscribe, okay? It helps. It helps other people. You're helping the next guy or the next gal find us easily, okay? That's why, and we appreciate it. So find the Wilder Show Podcast. Like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share, and we appreciate it. And Lauren, do you want to explain Echo or not?
Sure.
We don't have to. We're in a different place. That's all we'll say. A different place. And
a remote location.
A remote location. An undisclosed location.
Ooh,
how about that?
Makes it sound even cooler.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. We have to talk about the Minneapolis story.
Yes.
This is a weird thing to talk about. If I may just be transparent. You know, both sides run to their corners. Obviously, Democrats are running to the corner of gun control. And once it's determined that the shooter, the murderer, was trans, the other side runs to that corner and makes the point that they want to make. Now, at the end of this, I mean, I've seen really smart people on really serious news stations say one of the things we have to get to a point where people will report people that are having mental problems.
Yeah.
And early on, when all that was known of this guy was that his writings, everyone reported it as this guy was clearly mentally ill. This guy had a mental illness. And so people were wondering, well, who might have known that he had a mental illness? And the question is, well, how do you know if somebody has a mental illness? We've talked off the year before. I remember a guy in fourth grade. He always drew pictures of tanks and bombs and army men. And to my knowledge, he never grew up to be a killer or a school shooter. I always thought that maybe he had, like, his uncle was in the war or his dad was in Vietnam. And so he's drawing stuff from things like that. But do you report people like that? Do you report other people? What qualifies as something that is worthy of being reported? I don't know is the short answer. I just don't know.
I think that's the hard part too, because a lot of people can have mental illness and it doesn't mean that they will progress to something like this.
Yeah, but when they do, people say, who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew this about this person? And so you have this guy. I don't know where trans falls in that category, if it falls in there at all. I have no idea. A lot of people see something and they think, I can't do that. I can't. What if I turn him in and it's my friend? I mean, what if I turn him in and identify him as somebody that could be a problem, and then all of a sudden, nothing happens? I lose my friend, or I could get in trouble.
If they knew about the pictures and the manifesto and the aren't they saying that the YouTube video had not even really was supposed to post?
It was
after it happened, but people did see it.
Sure.
Maybe if that had been public before, that would have been something that somebody might have reported. But I mean, I don't think you can go to the police right now and say...
Forget about the trans part.
Yeah.
But let's say, for example, just disregard that for a second. If there are people that are writing things like the things that he wrote, if there are people that are doing things like the things that he did, if there are people saying things like the things that he said, other people knew about it. And now the question is, why didn't they report it? And if they didn't report it, are they complicit in some way in what happened? So when it first happened, I noticed the way the news was reporting it. And I think I even said to you, this is weird. The way they've just said that is kind of odd. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. You know, when you watch golf, I know you don't watch golf.
Very little, yeah.
But if you watched golf, those guys know when somebody's about to chip in from 150 yards. Sometimes that stuff is on tape. And so you'll hear them sort of setting it up in this would be amazing if so-and-so were able to, oh my goodness, look what happened. And you think, okay, this happened a couple of minutes ago. I watched it on Featured Group.
Yeah.
And you guys, the broadcast, knew this. And so you talked about it in a different way to set it up. And I had that that's exactly the feeling I got when I heard the way they started talking about the shooter. Mm-hmm. Because early on they said, this person, based on the writings that have just been released or just been discovered, this person is clearly mentally ill.
Yeah.
Then they began to back off of that. And then they stopped calling him a him or a gunman. They started calling him a they and the shooter.
The shooter.
And the perpetrator. And I thought, okay, this is clearly where they're going. And it turns out it was. That's exactly what happened. I even saw, I was watching, I won't name what it was. I was watching a news outlet, and they were talking about, after it was all known, it's a guy, the guy's trans, changed his name from Robert to Robin, changed his gender on whatever paperwork you do that on the gender changing paperwork, from male to female. And so on the driver's license and things like that, I guess, if they're still available in his state. And I assume it is available in Minnesota. His mother was a co-signer on it, which I assume had to be the case because I think he was 17 years old at the time. So once all of that was known, the news reporter said this, the anchor said this. We know that many of these people that do this, talking about the mass shooters, mm-hmm. many of these people that do this, what they want is they want notoriety. So we are not going to show the shooter's picture, and we are not going to say the shooter's name. And I thought, well, isn't that convenient? We just had the Manhattan shooter.
Yeah.
How many times did they show that guy walking into the bank?
All the time.
Walking across the plaza, walking with the automatic rifle at his side. How about the cat that killed the insurance guy? How many times they show his picture?
Sure.
How many times they say his name? Giovanni, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They say it all the time. It wasn't until this guy was trans that he got protection.
That's a media thing, right?
It is a media
less
thing.
about
it's a media
who
thing.
committed the crime.
No question.
And the causes for that and the mental illness there and what. Yeah, it's a media thing.
It's a media thing, but it's larger than that because it speaks to a societal pass that some people get special rules, a pass. We're not going to release a manifesto for the Nashville shooter because that's a trans shooter too. Mm-hmm. We're not going to release the picture of the redheaded guy because no, it's not because of that. It's because we don't want other people to seek notoriety, really. Because it seems to me in other cases, you don't care about that. You don't care about the Italian guy, the hot assassin. You don't care about the guy that walked into the bank in Manhattan.
Right.
You don't care about it then. I just find it really convenient that you really care about it. So you're right. It is a media question, but it also is a societal question of giving a pass. I'll give you one more example, and then we're going to put a bow on this. I want you to explain what misgendered means. People say you could be in trouble if you misgender someone. What does that mean?
If someone identifies as, say you have a genetic male who identifies as female, and you call them him.
A him.
Yeah.
Or him, or sir, or
he
thanks.
Identifies as a her, but you call him him.
Okay.
That's misgendering. Yeah. Or if they identify as they, and you call them him.
Him or her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there are rules in at universities, guidelines at universities. There are even some places that have laws where if you misgender someone, you're in violation. So if you want, no matter what you are, if you want to be called something else, I have to call you that.
Yeah.
So I reject all that, by the way. I reject every bit of that. I think that's crazy. That's not my delusion. That's somebody else's delusion. But here's my point. In watching the news, this guy is a murderer. This guy is an assassin of kids while they're praying at Mass in a Catholic church at a Christian school.
It did seem weird to be so concerned about that in the aftermath. I mean, it wasn't even 2 hours since it happened, and the big concern is that the gender is right for the shooter.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was watching this as it was going down, and you have the live report. See, the live report is really scary for these reporters and the anchors, because the real kind of stuff kind of dribbles out every now and then. And so you have a reporter that is out there, and they're on the street, and they're just talking to some other reporter, and they catch themselves calling this guy a man, or saying he, and mid-sentence, these reporters are correcting themselves and saying, and when they were outside, it's unbelievable. In the middle of a tragedy, you have a great concern that you don't want to misgender the monster that did this. So yes, that's a media thing. But it's bigger than that. It's a societal thing. It is a pass that some people get that they should never get.
I know. I think my only concern about that now is we go to that, and I say we, I mean the bigger we, I don't even mean just you and me, when parents have lost children.
Sure.
And other children who were there and are fortunate enough to have escaped with their lives, are traumatized by that. And we're talking about, and I'm not even saying it's our fault. It's just, we're talking about something that has nothing to do with that. And it takes away from what I think is the bigger issue, what I think is the bigger issue here.
Well, let me just say this. All the things that we've talked about, I think, have been things in response to what media has done.
Yeah.
So this is not as a sword. This is as a shield. That cannot go uncorrected. I don't think it's right for anybody to run their corners. I think a mayor coming out, I mean, the first thing the mayor said was, don't talk to me about prayers and thoughts and prayers. That was politicizing it pretty quickly. All I'm trying to do is say, this is what I saw. This is what I think is wrong. The way the news has reported this was wrong. Well, look at what happened at Cracker Barrel. Uh-huh. I guess all the people that thought it was wrong, well, maybe they were all wrong. And the CEO and the company decided to reverse course, or maybe they were right. It seems like they might have been right, that it was a bad idea and they shouldn't do it. That's what I think.
I know.
I know. But so what do you think?
I still think it wasn't that big a deal. But
so why do you think they would try to turn it back then?
Because people got really angry, and so they changed their mind.
It wasn't manufactured. This woman CEO had every indication it was a bad idea. She was told.
Why is it so important that she's a woman?
I've not said until now. Last podcast I didn't say she was a woman. So now we all know she's a woman.
Yeah.
She was warned by major investors that it was a bad idea. That it wasn't necessary. It wasn't needed.
Yeah.
They didn't need to rebrand Cracker Barrel, and she rejected that. That person then went to the board of directors and gave them like some very large number of pages on slides. What do you call a slide presentation?
Oh, like a PowerPoint?
Deck. Yeah, PowerPoint. And the board rejected that and sided with her. She went on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan and said all these people, every 2 years, they have all the managers that gather in Orlando or wherever. And person after person came up to me and said, when can I get my store redone? Where people are very excited. They're very excited about the rebranding. Michael Strahan's face was like, zoinks? He even said, really? She even said, and let me give you another sound bite, which I thought was a really weird thing for her to say in the middle of it. Let me give you a sound bite. It's like, really? That's what you're doing, is giving sound bites? I thought you were just talking about your restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So she was clearly trying to make it so in her interview with Michael Strahan. I don't know what she's going to say to all those restaurateurs, all those managers that were so excited about the changes and so ready to have their place look completely different. Or it really never was the case. I don't know.
Or they'll live. I mean,
sure.
Yeah. No, I still just feel like it's a restaurant. I mean, it's a restaurant. It's a company. Sometimes people say things are going to be one way, and then they have to walk it back. And
usually, people don't think it's a big deal if it doesn't touch either the restaurant that they like or the values that they agree with. It's just a restaurant.
The values that this was just taking stuff off the wall.
No, see, that's what most people misunderstand. I know that's what you think, or that's what many people think. But I'm telling you, for the people, not for me, but I understand completely. For the people, they saw it as an affront. They saw it as a taking away of a heritage. You can think that's crazy. You can think that's silly. But I'll tell you something. They lost $100 million in a second of stock because they did not take into account the seriousness with which their people would view this kind of change. You want to put, Pawpaw's old things in a letterbox and stick it on the wall. Those people don't see that the same as the restaurant that is important to them. Now, you could say, well, that's stupid. It's just a restaurant. Okay, well, that could be true of every single thing, every single restaurant, every single outlet, every single coffee shop. If Starbucks decided they want to change their color and their logo, change it completely.
That's not that different than changing the interior of a restaurant. But if they wanted to change, you're right. People can be really tied to stuff that just doesn't mean that much to me. But I love Starbucks. I get Starbucks a lot. If they wanted to change the logo, I don't think that it would be that big a deal to me. So maybe it was just hard for me to empathize with people who were so upset about interior changes at a restaurant that they made there. That they might go to when they're on road trips.
Sure,
I don't know.
absolutely.
Some people might go every week,
Saturday, Sunday.
and maybe they do.
Some people do.
The design of the restaurant, it was really, really important to them.
Well, look, for me, there are very few things in my life that I hold at such a high regard, including Cracker Barrel. I'm not speaking for me. I think I have an idea, and it turns out it was fairly accurate. Personally, you could change almost anything. I don't really care. You can change the logo of the church. You can change the logo of 7-Eleven. You can make that last letter a capital, not a lowercase n. And I don't care. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm not sentimental about almost anything. You may not feel that way about Starbucks. You clearly don't feel that way about Cracker Barrel. I don't feel that way about either one of those. But there might be something that you would say, yeah, if you make that kind of change, you are disrespecting your clientele. I don't know what it would be. I don't know what things are important to you like that. Maybe zero. Maybe like me, there are zero things and there's no change that could be made. They could change whatever. Whole Foods. Whole Food could change everything and it wouldn't matter. They're going to change or Sprouts or Trader Joe's or whatever the things are that you go to.
Yeah, I think I'm really sentimental about personal stuff, but I don't think I'm very sentimental about the places I grocery shop or buy coffee or
I think that's healthy.
Eat.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's healthy. I don't feel like I am either. And I wasn't ever making a case for what's important to me. I felt like that I had some sense of what was important to the people that were outraged. That they saw it as a tearing down of it sounds crazy, I'm sure to you, to some people. They saw it as a tearing down of a value. Not changing dusty things off the wall, and we're going to put them in a real clean letterbox. Well, don't you like this better? No, they don't like it better. They like it the way that it was. It was a 1920s feel, and when you take that away, the people that come all the time don't like it.
And that's fine. I guess I just don't. I've not been aware of my opinion ever making that big a difference to in a restaurant that I might eat.
Yeah.
Stuff changes.
Yeah.
I've been going to the same grocery store for 35 years. Every once in a while, they pull up all the floors and they change the floors and they move everything around. And I just get used to where the stuff is now.
That's the way I am. There may be something they could do if they took away all the checkers, the checking people, and everything was auto checkout. Or there might be something that may not be the thing for you, but there may be something they could do that would change your interest in going there. And if you were representative of a whole bunch of people, then those people might say, hey, don't do that. You're changing that. We really like it the way it was. And people, if there were enough of them, they might be listened to, and corporate might make a change back to the thing that those people want.
That's great. Yeah. I'm thrilled for them that they've gotten it, turned around. And I think the thing that just struck me was that same grocery store. It is different. There is self-checkout now. Sometimes there's only one real person in a checkout line. I've never walked through there and thought, I'm just going to scream about this and make a big deal that there's only one person checking stuff out now. And most of the time, I have to wait in a long line there if I have a whole lot of groceries or I have to do it myself. It's just kind of the way the world works. Things change. And if you live long enough, things are going to change a lot. And I would prefer to live long enough for things to change and for me to have to adjust sometimes.
I understand.
That doesn't seem to me to be that big a deal.
I got it. I've been to a Cracker Barrel on the weekend mornings, and some of those people have lived a really long time.
That's great.
And so they probably have adapted in some ways. I think what they want is their restaurant that they frequent. All things being equal, they would like it not to change. We won't go very deeply into this. The real problem people are going to have with Cracker Barrel is not about the logo. The logo got the attention of everyone. And now people are looking into other things that are going to be a problem. But I'm just going to wish Cracker Barrel well. And on behalf of, not that I speak for, the people that let their voice be heard, it's a victory for the little guy.
Sure.
And gal. You know the movie, You Want Me on That Wall. You Need Me on That Wall.
A Few Good Men.
Right? A Few Good Men. I used to say something on the radio sometimes. If it appears I'm wrong, it might just mean that I've not been proved right yet. So just kind of wait. President Trump and the National Guard in D.C. Early on, the mayor of D.C. was going crazy and couldn't believe it. And was saying, we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. Well, she has changed her tune. Crime in D.C., listen to this, has dropped across all categories since President Trump ordered federal law enforcement into the streets of the nation's capital earlier this month, with carjacking plummeting an astonishing 87% from the same period last year.
Man.
That is according to Democratic Mayor Muriel Bowser. She revealed that on Wednesday. Think about that. Do you know that 87 is almost 100?
It's really close.
87%. If carjacking had been down 100%, it'd be zero.
Right.
Carjacking down 87%. The federal surge has had a significant decrease on crime in D.C. This is the mayor. This is Bowser. This is at a press conference where she unveiled the latest crime data. Here's what she said. The federal surge has had a significant decrease on crime in Washington, D.C., and we greatly appreciate the surge of officers that enhance what D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department has been able to do in this city. Since August 7th, overall crime is down 15% in the district compared to the same 20-day period in August 2024. Anyway, this is a mayor who came out very loud early on saying, we don't need this. We don't need the president coming in and doing this. And now look what she says today. Between 2018 and 2023, the number of carjackings in the district rose every year, peaking at, listen to this, 959 cases in 2023.
Wow.
That's 3 carjackings a day. With victims that year, including an FBI agent, a diplomat from the United Arab Emirates, and Representative Henry Cuellar from Texas.
You'd think people would be afraid to even leave their homes.
They are. They were. That's what President Trump's been saying. He's saying, people have come in and I said, oh, I took my family out. We had dinner. We haven't been out in years. We haven't felt safe to be out in years. D.C. police recorded 496 carjackings last year, still triple the number of offenses from 6 years earlier. Wednesday's data also showed homicides fell 38%, sex abuse was down 44%, and robberies were down 62%. Property crime declined by 12%. Burglaries, 47%. Motor vehicle thefts, 35%. Now, here's what I've talked about before. These Democrat mayors who don't want President Trump's help, or governors who don't want President Trump's help for this kind of thing, choose lawlessness over a fix because the fix comes from someone that they hate. And let me just tell you what is in the future. This is going to be the number one issue in the midterms. That's part of what Trump is doing right now, is setting this whole thing up. Look what I did in D.C. She said this, then she said this. Why don't you want me to come help you? Why wouldn't you want this help? That's what he's setting up.
Makes sense.
And it's a winning issue for Republicans and a loser for Democrats. Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot, also called Lauren's Corner. It's our own little area over there. Everything's very orderly over there.
I don't know about that.
Pretty orderly.
I don't know.
I'm looking
about
at
that.
it right now. It's pretty orderly.
I was going to say it's kind of non-confrontational, but I'm not really sure about that. Biggest news. It happened on Tuesday. Yeah. Well, we think it happened on Tuesday. There's some news today that suggests it might have happened a few weeks ago.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
Let's identify what we're talking about.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got engaged.
When is the royal wedding?
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. But I think you suggested maybe they should do it at halftime at the Super Bowl.
I think that way, the halftime could be performed by Taylor. And then, assuming he's playing in the game, you could have the wedding, and then go and play the second half.
Nice.
And then we could all throw rice on the field.
It's a little intimate gathering of
the confetti at the end, assuming that the Chiefs win. Could be like the rice that you throw. And they could walk down the 50-yard line.
And think of the sponsorship opportunities.
So they probably won't happen.
I
don't know how much of any of it is going to happen. But Taylor Swift, Tay-Tay, and what's his name?
Travis. I'm trying to think of a nickname
for
him. Travis Kelce.
TK.
Yeah, which I've never, had a hard time wrapping my arms around them as a couple. I never really saw her with a football player. I'm a singer. She's been with singers. She's been with actors.
So he is not like the ones she had been dating before.
Everybody's really happy for him, so I guess I'll jump on the bandwagon and be happy too. He's not my cup of tea. Maybe that's the problem. Kind of a loud football player. I think one of the first things he ever said, he tried to get her attention he tried to get backstage at a show, I think, and he thought who he was would get him backstage. He had made her a friendship bracelet with his phone number. And he said they wouldn't let him through. And his what he said after that was he was really butthurt about that. I thought, just doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Now, setting aside, not talking about what you just said, but I think a lot of people is part of it, because I've read a lot of stuff from a lot of the fans. Yeah. The fandom.
I am a fan.
No, I know.
Let me just make sure that I'm clear about that. I've spent I've spent money to see her in concert. I've spent money for other people to see her in concert. I've spent more than I spent on most concert tickets on the ticket just to park outside of the stadium where she was performing. So I'm in. I'm all in on this.
Well, then this is going to be tough now for me to box you out of what I'm saying. I was trying to protect you, actually. But okay, it's you. I'll talk to you as if you are that fan.
Okay.
Could it be you're just a little too protective of someone that you don't really know?
Maybe I am.
And you'll never meet, and she'll never know your name.
I'm involved in a parasocial relationship with her.
So he's not good enough for her.
She has spoken her heart to me over all of these albums, and I feel like I know her, and she also could be my daughter, age-wise.
Right.
So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know what it is.
I mean, she wrote songs that made a lot of money, and people bought them because they liked them.
How dare you?
No, I know, but this is the deal. There's nothing bad that I'm saying. I'm saying she did this thing, and a lot of people liked it.
Yeah,
but that's it. It wasn't written for the fans. She wrote songs she wanted to write. She has a great brand. People loved it. They ate it up, and I think the whole "he's not good enough for her" sort of thing sort of just feels like a lot of investment in something. I don't know. I just.
If it makes you feel any better, I mean, I'm not writing her letters telling him to break up with him or anything like that. I
didn't mean that. I was trying early on to say, do you think some fans are a little too bought into it, that they take it all very personally and read into?
I just said he wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I would have pictured her with somebody else. But obviously, the 14 million people who liked the Instagram post within the first hour it was up feel differently. I know plenty of young women who feel that this is the greatest thing that could ever happen. So I wish them nothing but the best. I did think something kind of funny came out. Was there something else you wanted to?
Not at all.
Yeah. Ed Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's dad, in an interview said that they actually got engaged about 2 weeks ago.
So that picture that was up, you're saying that was, or you think they came back and took it again?
I don't know. I don't know if that was taken in the play, if that was the photo op and they really just got engaged in a very private way, just between the two of them with nobody there taking professional pictures in a garden and all of that. I don't really know.
Interesting.
But the one thing that Ed Kelsey said was that Travis wanted to wait and make it really perfect, and he had a few ideas about what he wanted to do, but he said, I think Taylor was getting a little antsy and she was ready for it to happen, which I wonder if he's got to run his words past anybody before he shares takes like that. I just thought it was kind of, that's kind of cute. I mean, that's kind of I guess so. Yeah, they're all one big happy family, or will be soon. I don't know how soon yet, though, because as far as I know, it has not been announced yet.
No date for the royal wedding.
This is something that makes me a little bit nervous. I hear this a lot, and I don't want to offend anyone
go ahead.
With the words, but I hear a lot lately about people referring to their kids as their best friend. Now, not necessarily adult kids, but they're little kids. They're younger kids. We're best friends. She's just my best friend. He's my best friend. Yeah.
My guess is that as women, you have probably heard say that more likely about their daughters than their sons.
I wouldn't say that is 100%. That it's only women I've ever heard.
That's why I said more likely.
Maybe more than men. Yeah. As a woman who had a daughter, I think that it probably doesn't always come from a bad place.
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, it's great to want to be with your kids and want to spend time with your kids. And I think that there is, if I'm certainly not speaking for all mothers, and I don't think I never identified my kids as my best friend, and I don't think that I've ever heard them identify me as that, although I'm really happy to have very close relationships with all of my kids. But I think if you talk about your kid, maybe especially between a mom and a daughter, as she is my best friend, we are best friends. I think there's a part of that where you're thinking, if we're best friends, she's going to confide in me things, I will be a safe place for her. And maybe she will be less vulnerable to some of the things that maybe another 15-year-old wouldn't tell her to look out for, but I can tell her to look out for.
Can we draw just a line real quick? Because I think it's completely different, as you were saying before, for a mom of a daughter in her late 20s and 30s, and where you are two adults. You're not really totally peers. I mean, you're still parent and child. But in terms, I think that's a totally different thing. I think what you were talking about, if I understand it, is maybe, like you were saying, moms of daughters that are, I don't know, 16 and younger, something like that.
Yeah, if it starts when they're young, there are some issues even when that moves into adulthood, especially if it started when they were little.
Okay.
But one of the problems is a child can really easily start feeling like they're responsible for your feelings.
Right.
And it's one thing to, I mean, what are kids are going to say? I don't want to play with you. I want to play with you. They're not as worried maybe about hurting the feelings of another 5 or 6-year-old or 7 or 8-year-old. But it's a whole different thing when they start feeling responsible for the emotions of their parents. So that's one reason that experts recommend not identifying your small child as your best friend. Now, you don't ever want them to feel responsible, have that kind of adult responsibility at such a young age. But even when kids are older, when your kids are adults and they have their own kids, is it's so often parents, and like we would be with our grown children, might pay for things. You take your kids out and you pay for dinner, or you give your kids money for the grandchildren. That's not the same. There's a power differential there that is different with peer-to-peer relationships. So it might just want to be something you think about. If that's how you identify your kids as your best friends, it could be totally fine. And maybe you and your kids, your adult kids don't have any issues with it. But it's just kind of something it was good for me to hear and to think about. It's always good to, I think, check yourself and just make sure that your motives are good and healthy in the relationships that mean the most to you and the people that you want the best for, your kids. You're a pretty good tipper.
I mean, like at restaurants and
pretty
stuff?
Generous tipper. Yeah.
It depends. But yeah, I think so. I mean, I want to take care of people who take care of me when I'm at a restaurant or something. But, it kind of depends.
Do you ever guilt tip?
What do you mean?
Well, when the screen is turned around to you, maybe you're at a coffee shop and there was not really a whole lot of serving. You might have ordered your coffee at the counter and you didn't go sit down. Nobody had to bring you anything. Nobody really even cleaned up after you. But they turn and it happens a lot at counter service food places and things like that. And before you pay, the little screen is turned around and the default option might be 20% on your, do you do that?
No. And let me tell you, it's funny you should say that. I was just at an airport and I don't know what I got. I got a carbonated beverage and one piece of coffee cake. So 2 items. It was like $13 or something insane. Yeah. And she flips the thing around while she goes over. That's supposed to be where you could really do anything you want, including not tip, because they're not going to watch you. But they don't expect you'll ever do the not tip. And so she goes to get my coffee cake made of gold, apparently. And she brings it back, and no tip. I mean, you're 4 feet. You're walking 4 feet, and because it's an exorbitantly priced, so a 20% tip on something that's way too expensive is money. No, I'm not gonna.
Ever put $1 or something in the little carafe next to the No.
I don't carry a lot of cash. Number one, but number two, I don't believe in that. I think there is. To ensure prompt service, I'm not going to. That's TIPS. I'm not going to pay. We had this conversation a long time ago on the radio about tipping for a breakfast buffet.
Oh, yeah.
Where one person walks through the the room and maybe or maybe not refills your coffee, and that was the service. I'm not paying a tip for that.
What about
I serve myself.
I might leave a little bit of a tip for that if they're going to clean up after me. If I'm leaving leaving the plates and everything on the table.
Even if you put your own plates in a bucket, somebody else has to wash them. I mean, do we have to wash them too? We have to clean up after ourselves and wash them and put them back in the drying rack.
Nobody has ever made me do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying this is all part of what they're getting paid to do. The people wash the dishes and the people gather the dishes from the table and put them where they're supposed to go. But the more things like that, like the self-checkout at the grocery store, the more things like that we do, I think, well, why are we either not getting a massive discount, or why would we pay a tip for that?
Mm-hmm. But that's a totally different thing from guilt tipping, or what some people call pressure-driven tips.
Sure.
And a pressure-driven tip is when that screen is turned around and you're given the opportunity to tip right there, and you feel like they haven't even made my coffee yet, and they're going to look to see, did I give them 20% on the cup of coffee, or 15%, or a custom tip, or any tip at all.
Got it.
And Americans are guilt tipping less.
Good.
I so want to say guilt tripping, but it's different. Guilt tipping less in 2025. We've spent $283. Most Americans, is in average, spent about $283 on pressure-driven tips so far in 2025. That's down from $453 in 2024. The average person now gives into tip pressure about 4.2 times a month compared to 6.3 times last year. And some people say that it's because of the higher cost of living. They don't have as much to tip. Yeah. And other people just say that they think that businesses should pay the employees more instead of relying on the customers to tip. So, and I guess we're getting braver.
I think it's good to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why should the company be off the hook?
Yeah.
For paying people what they should be paying them?
I agree.
Take care of the people that take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I'm for that. I had a situation with a car, and I needed attention from a mechanic and a group of guys, and they did give me attention for the thing that I needed to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And I did really appreciate it. And it was in days when I carried cash. And I went to the guy and I said, look, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not, so I'd already paid for the work that was done. And I gave him a $20 bill.
Yeah.
I said, listen, for whatever, this won't buy everybody's lunch, but you decide. But I just want to say thanks. Get you guys something to eat or drink at lunchtime. I just want to tell you I really appreciate you taking care of me and that kind of thing.
That's nice.
I have nothing wrong with doing that kind of stuff. But the whole thing of they kind of stare at you and chew their gum and go, aren't you going to, they twist that thing around.
Or would it just, it just becomes a part of the transaction,
No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Stuff is already expensive enough. We're paying way too much for almost everything we're spending money on.
Yep.
Especially these places that are doing that. They're not doing it at places where stuff is, reasonably priced.
Oh, yeah?
It's almost always, the Dollar General. You think you get pressure tipping there? They're spinning a little thing around for you to, no.
Maybe if they poured me a cup of coffee, they might, but yeah.
But I'm just saying, we were paying how much for the coffee? $7 for a cup of coffee. And you got to get a roll or something. It's $14 before you get out of there. You add taxes. You're talking about $20 bill is almost gone.
Right.
You got almost nothing, and they're asking for another $4 in a tip.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it.
Nope.
Otherwise, those companies can say, well, we're not going to pay as much because people are going to tip.
Yeah.
No. Don't put it on me. You're the one that hired the person. You're the one they're responsible to.
Do you feel that same way, though? Should we overhaul the whole way we do food service? I mean, would you feel that way in a nice restaurant where you really did receive good service?
No.
Should that be the responsibility of the restaurant too?
Well, first of all, I think sort of a reasonable baseline of service someone who is timely in the way they deliver the food. The food isn't delivered cold. Your water glass or iced tea glass or your beverage glass or coffee does not go to the bottom and stay there.
Yeah.
There's a sort of baseline. But beyond that, to ensure prompt service, tips, yeah, I mean, you thank them in that way.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. But especially with the Trump thing of no tax on tips, if that thing goes through, I mean, that's got to be good for everyone in the service industry. That is the Wilder Show podcast. Sorry for the echo. We explained that earlier. Instagram, you find us on Instagram. You'll search Wilder Show Pod, and then you'll like us and follow us and all that. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays, Fridays before 6 a.m. Central Time. Wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, if you want to follow us on YouTube, we appreciate that. That's a growing group that is following us there. And if you'd like to do that, just get on YouTube and search Wilder Show or Wilder Show Podcast. Just follow it. Subscribe. It'll help us, and we appreciate it. And you get the podcast wherever you get your podcast. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And Lauren, hello. Goodbye.
Way over the canyon.
And we'll see you next time.
da 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 da